The NBA trade market just exploded. Massive deals, shocking moves, and even franchise-altering decisions. In this video, we break down every single trade that went down in the last few days, giving you all the context and details on each transaction you need to know. We got big names like Luka Doncic, Jimmy Butler, De'Aaron Fox, and many more. You don't want to miss this. Stick around until the end. Now let's start with the Lakers and Mark Williams trade. After sending AD to Dallas for Luka Doncic, they found themselves desperate for a center, as Jackson Hayes was the only big they will have available. Also, ESPN reporters are saying that Luka's initial basketball conversations with Rob Pelinka involved him explaining that he played best when he had a vertical lob threat. So when the Charlotte Hornets called saying they liked Dalton Knecht and might be willing to discuss Mark Williams, all the pieces came into place and they made the deal. They sent Dalton Knecht, Cam Reddish, a 2031 unprotected first-round pick, and a 2030 pick swap to the Charlotte Hornets for center Mark Williams, who's been great for the Hornets this season, averaging 16 points, 9.8 rebounds, 2.5 assists, and 1.2 blocks per game in 22 appearances. However, his injury history might be a bit of a concern. Now, before we jump into the Jimmy Butler drama, we got De'Aaron Fox and Zach LaVine in a blockbuster trade that took 3 teams to get it done: the Kings, the Bulls, and the Spurs. The Kings received Sissoko, which they later traded with the Wizards for Jonas Valanciunas, 3 first-round picks, 3 second-round picks, and Zach LaVine. The Spurs received De'Aaron Fox and Jordan McLaughlin, and the Bulls received Zach Collins, Trey Jones, Kevin Huerter, and their own 2025 first-round pick. The Bulls are also keeping Lonzo Ball, and they agreed to a 2-year, $20 million contract extension. Now let's talk about Jimmy Butler. He finally got what he wanted after fighting with the Heat front office for the past few days. The reason why he wanted to leave the Miami franchise is due to his frustration with the management's inability to sign another big star. I mean, even when they had Damian Lillard before he left Portland saying that he wanted to go to Miami, they couldn't close the deal. And the last straw for Butler was when the Heat didn't offer him the 2-year, $113 million max extension he was eligible for this past summer. So he started to publicly force a trade out of Miami, and we all know the result of that. He got himself suspended 3 times. Even so, he got multiple teams interested in him, including the Phoenix Suns. However, the Suns situation is kind of tricky, since the player they would most likely use to make a trade for Butler is Bradley Beal, who has a no-trade clause in his contract. Devin Booker, meanwhile, is considered untouchable by the Suns. And even though Kevin Durant's name was brought up in 3 teams' trade conversations between the Suns, Heat, and the Warriors, he said no and shut down any possibility of going back to Golden State to reunite with Curry while sending Butler to Phoenix. And just when both the Warriors and Butler seem to be running out of options, we got the bombshell from NBA insider Shams Charania. Butler is going to the Warriors in a trade deal that involved 4 teams: the Warriors, the Heat, the Jazz, and the Pistons. With that, the Warriors received Jimmy Butler, the Miami Heat received Andrew Wiggins, Kyle Anderson, a protected first-round pick from the Warriors, and PJ Tucker, who they later sent to the Raptors along with a second-round pick and cash in exchange for Davion Mitchell. The Pistons received Lindy Waters and Josh Richardson, and the Jazz received Dennis Schroeder, who was later acquired by the Pistons. Now let's talk about the Milwaukee Bucks. Currently 5th in the East, they traded Chris Middleton, the rookie AJ Johnson, and a 2028 first-round pick swap to the Washington Wizards for Kyle Kuzma and Patrick Baldwin Jr. as well. But then they sent him to the Spurs for cash compensation and a 2025 second-round pick. And what's interesting to note about this deal is that in order to help the Bucks build out its roster, Kyle Kuzma is reducing a portion of the trade bonus in his contract, according to ESPN's Bobby Marks. The savings put Milwaukee below the second apron, which will give them more flexibility to improve their roster. A very cool move by Kuzma. The Knicks were also involved in a deal. The Bucks sent DeLon Wright and cash to New York for center Jericho Sims. Now the Pelicans have also made some shocking moves, and it's about time, as they're currently in last place in the West. They traded Brandon Ingram to the Toronto Raptors for Bruce Brown, Kelly Olynyk, a first-round pick, and a second round pick. They also traded center Daniel Theis and draft compensation to the Oklahoma City Thunder, as Theis is on an expiring $2.1 million contract, and with him, the Pelicans were 1.4 above the luxury tax. Now they are below. Now, the Doncic trade wasn't the only move the Mavericks made. Currently the 8th seed, they also acquired Caleb Martin from the 76ers and sent Quentin Grimes and the 2025 second round pick in return. While the Phoenix Suns were truly disappointed as they were hoping to land Jimmy Butler, they also made some interesting moves. Currently the 9th seed, they traded Yusuf Nurkic and the 2026 first round pick to the Charlotte Hornets for Cody Martin, Vasilije Micic, and the 2026 second round pick. The Memphis Grizzlies also surprised us. Currently the 2nd seed in the West, they traded Marcus Smart and the 2025 first round pick to the Washington Wizards in exchange for 2 second round picks, Marvin Bagley III, and Johnny Davis. While this move also brings some roster flexibility to the Grizzlies. Now let's talk about the trade of the year, with some analysts even calling it the biggest trade in NBA history, which took everyone by surprise, including the players being traded, where the Dallas Mavericks approached the Lakers offering Luka Doncic as part of the deal. The Lakers agreed, believing that Luka, at just 25, can be the face of their franchise for the next decade, while giving Anthony Davis an opportunity to win now in Dallas. The Clippers also made some moves. Currently the 7th seed, they sent Mo Bamba, a future second round pick, cash compensation, and PJ Tucker to the Utah Jazz for Drew Eubanks and Patty Mills. The Jazz used PJ Tucker later in the deal with the Warriors and the Miami Heat. The Clippers also traded Terrence Mann and Bones Highland to the Atlanta Hawks for Bogdan Bogdanovic and 3 second round picks. They also sent Kevin Porter Jr. to the Milwaukee Bucks for Marjin Beauchamp. The Atlanta Hawks, currently the 9th seed in the East, traded forward DeAndre Hunter to Cleveland Cavaliers for Caris LeVert, George Niang, 3 second round picks, and 2 swaps. They also traded Cody Zeller and Houston's 2028 second round pick to the Rockets to stay under the luxury tax. The Indiana Pacers also made a move that was a little weird and only about finances. They sent James Wiseman and cash compensation to the Toronto Raptors, and in return they received a top 55 protected 2026 second round draft pick from the Raptors, but it was just a formality as Toronto had to send something in the trade legally, and unless they have a top 5 record in the league in 2025-26 season, the Pacers won't receive that draft pick. And they only made this deal because it would save them money, as Wiseman, who signed with the Pacers this summer, suffered a torn Achilles tendon in Indiana's first game of the season. He hasn't played since and will almost certainly miss the entire 2024-25 season. Now let me know what you think in the comments below. Did your favorite player get traded? Also leave a comment if you know about a trade that I might have missed. Also don't forget to hit the like button. You almost forgot, but I reminded you. I got you. Thanks for watching and subscribe to always stay updated.